Live from Lagos, Tosin OLASEINDE, the economic geek. Yemisi ADESANYA, Yemkolo. TUNJI Andrews, Mr. Fresh. This is Business Unusual.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on Business Unusual, the show that crunches the numbers. I am here with Tunji and Yemisi, my co-anchors, and the stories making the rounds are: Nigeria outlines $2.5 billion welfare program in its draft budget. There's a power hike and Iroko seals deal with Canal Plus. You know, I find it quite interesting that the budget has finally been agreed to. 6 trillion naira, and out of that 6 trillion naira, they earmarked some money for the welfare.
Well, the thing about it is that we've heard that 2.5 billion, roughly about 500 billion naira, has been earmarked for social welfare, and a lot of speculation is going around to why. Some people believe that subsidy may go, even subsidy on PMS, subsidy on kerosene may go. So this is sort of like maybe a palliative to try and say, okay, we don't want you to feel the hardship too much. Okay. We're going to put this as a support system. But the breakdown is not yet out, but there's some more speculation that the 500 billion is going to go to the conditional cash transfer, which is the 5,000 naira, and maybe also feeding of children in schools. Okay,
so now the money will be dispersed to, let's say, some unemployed youth and also to feed children in the schools.
Hopefully.
Now my question would be this, that can this money be better spent? 500 billion naira, that's about 1/12 of the budget. That is 8.3% of the budget.
Well, you would want to say that other developed economies that have social welfare schemes spent years and years and years of developing infrastructure. America, Brazil, India, South Africa. They spent lots of years developing infrastructure before they came. And the infrastructure relatively pays for the social welfare scheme. So it's one thing to remove money from your pocket and pay social welfare as against having something that will continue generating the money so that we give them 5,000 naira today and tomorrow we don't come back to the same situation with governors not being able to pay salaries.
Yeah, remember
do you think that
remember that the 5,000 naira originated from the promise of the political party APC. So I sort of feel like they might feel compelled, you know, to go through on their promise during the campaign phase and all of that. So, but then I also agree with you that, I mean, giving this unemployed youth and feeding students in school at this time, perhaps it is a sacrifice that we might be willing to make just so we can get the economy going, we can get infrastructure in place.
So, are you for it or are you against it?
I'm actually for it. I believe that government can do side by side.
For it or you against it?
I'm against it.
Guys,
why do I feel I just saw arrows like come out?
All right. I heard that there's a rumor in the air about there being a hike in power rates.
It's actually not a rumor. So the Minister of Power, Works and Housing has come out to say, you know, we've been waiting for him to say a few things after he was nominated and of course confirmed. And he's come out to say that, okay, the electricity tariff plan that was agreed upon by the previous administration and wasn't implemented, of course, for political reasons, might now be implemented. Now, the question is it the same amount that was agreed upon that will be implemented? We hear that NERC has been asked to, you know, agree on a particular fee that works for everyone. Now, the intention as well is to try and use this means to get in investors, because if you don't do it, how are you going to get investors? In fact, Ghana just hiked its own electricity tariff as well. You know, so
Tunji, on that back now, we're talking about raising costs and costs should be reflective of the cost of the operators. I mean, what's your take on that?
Nigerians generally don't like anything or costs going up, bus fees. Oh! But the thing about it is that if we don't increase this tariff, it won't be attractive for investors to put in money. As our power sector is right now, it's not really helpful to anybody, because it can't go forward. It's like we're stuck in the middle point. we can't go forward. We can't say, okay, the investors can't say we're not buying anymore and take it back to NEPA or PHCN, and we can't even go forward with expanding the infrastructure. So we need to do something.
And also, I think whenever we want to make decisions, we should always think about our alternatives. Like for instance, to generate alternative power, like the diesel generator, also cost about 19 naira per kilowatt hour. On the contrary, the average cost, if NEPA or if the regulator gives us some power, is about 27 naira.
I think that's
which is still kilowatt hour. It varies.
My generator consumes a lot more petrol.
A lot more.
So you're saying that even with the hike, even with the proposed hike, we probably
even with
never
the proposed
get
hike, it's still lower than I think,
yes.
and that's what we should always sensitize the environment. Let them know that this is the situation, and also in order for people to find the environment in the sector attractive for investment, it has to be cost reflective. It has to be. Why would you want to invest in something you don't think you can make your money back? Now let's bring it back to the man on the streets. Some people don't have electricity. What do you think? How would they feel about this?
Especially as there's a ban on the better pass my neighbor generators.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a ban on it now.
No, you're kidding
I'm
me,
serious.
right?
I'm serious, guys. But you see, my generator consumes 30 liters in 8 hours.
Wow.
That is massive. It's a problem. It's a problem. So I probably consume a lot more energy per hour than most people. So for me, even if you increase it to maybe 15 naira per kilowatt and it's consistent, I'm a lot more confident.
So how about,
yeah, we talked about this last week. We were talking about, bearing this cost now, bearing the suffering for a little while just so we can enjoy later. I think educating the public as well has a lot to do with this. You need to educate them to know that, okay, you're paying this. And then Fashola also said that you're actually going to be paid only for what you use.
True.
So, they plan on monitoring that process so you don't have to pay for what you haven't used. So I sort of feel like it is the 2016 that might be a little bit turbulent, but at the end of it all,
I guess the general feeling I'm getting is that we're saying that short-term pain,
but
long-term gain.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, back to the technology space. Have you guys heard the latest buzz on the market?
No.
Iroko signs a deal with Canal Plus. And even though they did not give us a specific figure, they said it was going into some, millions of euros. So we're looking at least a minimum of 200 million naira, but I'm sure it's definitely more than that. And the market has been relatively quiet. We saw Paga raise funds at the beginning of the year, but in general, there was no initial public offering on the Nigerian Stock Exchange or just general deals in the market compared to what has been happening in other parts of the world. I mean, we saw that of SAB, Mila, and all of that. So this is quite an interesting news as well.
But the thing is that, this Iroko is sort of your .com tech business, and in Nigeria as a whole, I think even the rest of the world, they seem to get more funding than other businesses.
True.
So if you have a business that is relatively online, you would be more attractive to get venture capital funding than the other people.
Yeah.
But for Iroko, I think it opens them to a larger audience.
Yes, it does.
The
French-speaking
exactly,
audience, yeah.
Canal Plus, or what used to be Canal Plus, but
Yes.
it's now Canal. It opens to a larger part of Europe and a lot of the French-speaking parts of the world. So, I mean, it's a good deal for Iroko.
But isn't their target in Africa, though? I thought their target was...
No, the target is
still
Africa because in actual fact, the Canal's strategy is to, widen its footprint, and this will give them that platform because they already have like 2 million households and households on pay TV, but now they are tapping into the mobile something. Last week we spoke to Afrinoli, right? And he spoke about the role that mobile technology plays in getting the content further, and that is what Canal is trying to, leverage on, and hence the partnership with Iroko. And it's not going to be their first time working together. So now we're going to be seeing more French content. That is strictly going to be French content on this new.
I'm just more
platform.
concerned about
Strictly. So what
French.
happens to all the English content they have?
But then again, the Canal's target is the French people. That is, there are 23 French-speaking countries in Africa. That is their target. 23 million French-speaking.
Okay, let me ask you. I find that, when you were positioned like Iroko was at the time they signed the deal with Canal, what's happening with other tech startups? What kind of funding are available for them out there? Just beyond the big ones that are established.
I can tell you, there's someone right now. I can't remember the name of I think it's Echo VC or so. They recently had, I think it was about $200,000 or so. I'm not really sure of the amount now, and it was basically going towards tech startups.
Yeah.
Nigerian tech
yeah,
startups.
as
So
an
a lot of this is going to tech startups.
Yeah.
I do feel like we need more though. I feel
But
like
look
we have
at
a lot of
Jumia,
tech companies.
No,
Konga,
I actually,
Joe.
I want to
just a
disagree.
few. Every time we talk about tech companies, we're mentioning the same.
But there are a lot more. There are a lot more. There's I think groceries.com or something. There are a lot of them that are growing. They've
no,
not
the
gotten the
funding.
bigger kind of funding.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We need the
Coming
funding.
from an aspiring entrepreneur point of view,
Who doesn't have a tech company?
most of the funding is always targeted at the tech company. But anyhow, I really do
Well,
hope that
there's
we
a
see
reason
more.
why. There's a reason why.
Yes,
because
they can leverage.
It's easy to measure it, and they know that
Yes.
there's a life cycle. You can sell those tech companies to bigger tech
And
companies.
also traction.
outside.
Traction seems to
Exactly.
always be the key
Yeah,
for them.
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining me on the show today. And that is all on the hot topics. You share with us your thoughts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. In 2014, the Association of Fast Food Confectioners of Nigeria revealed that the Nigerian organized fast food industry was worth about 250 billion naira. This does not account for the entire food service industry in Nigeria. After the break, we will take a look at the potential of this industry, and I will tell you more about the Fiesta of Flavors that I attended last week. We'll be right back.
5 fun facts.
Welcome back. Last week, I was at the Fiesta of Flavor, and it was so interesting. Like, it was so nice to see the little children even taking part in the cooking competition. And they had different varieties of vendors from the local
We're not
manufacturer.
invited though. We're not invited.
You can
You
see,
went there
you
alone.
can see Tosi's face light up as
When
she's
it's
talking about
food. When it's food.
I love
it's
food, and I'm
Tosi.
not going to lie about it. I love my food.
Yeah, we know.
I love
we
my
know,
food.
we know.
There's no
And,
lie.
you know, it was quite interesting to know that because I spoke to a couple of the organizers and even the chef themselves, and they all kept honing on one thing, that we need to start encouraging creative uses of our local product. Like, people now getting more creative with what we have, like okra, you know, taking it. I saw someone make a vodka with okra. Yes, don't even ask me. I didn't try it.
What?
I did not try it, but they're getting more creative. Another person made something with gari water, something very, you know, yes, they're trying to get more creative with what we already have. So
Nice.
yeah, it was a
I
nice
have
one.
a natural bias to okra. I'm more your vegetable kind of guy. Well, okra is vegetable, but I mean the leaves put together, efori roll.
But I guess whatever it is that you like can be used internally. I guess that's what you're trying to say
I guess
also.
so.
So let's take a look at the pack and hear what the different vendors have to say.
They say food is the new oil. Although we are fully invested in the cultivation aspects, the other value chain are yet to be fully exploited. I'm here live at the Fiesta of Flavor. Join me as I explore the business of food.
Despite economic and household financial pressures, the consumer food service industry registered mid-single-digit current value growth, supported by operators' efforts to increase their value for money offerings. Accommodation and food services grew by 5.42% for the third quarter of 2015. Fiesta of Flavors is a world-class food and beverage exhibition and the first of its scale and caliber in West Africa. Held its maiden event in Nigeria, one of the goals of the exhibition is to add value across all agricultural food chain, which goes in hand with the food service industry.
It's not just a fair at all, because first of all, you know, it's adding value that we have people from producers of you know, people who are farmers, we have people in the restaurant business, we're able to, you know, expose people all through the agricultural value chain. We're able to let people see that there's so many different areas where you could either invest or you could actually build a business in that food chain. So, and then we had, you know, part of the fiesta was we had training for people in the food and hospitality business. So there's opportunity for training. So we're empowering, we're educating, and we're entertaining people. So it's, you know, all ramifications.
Value chains reside at the core of high impact and sustainable initiatives focused on improving productivity, competitiveness, entrepreneurship, and small-medium enterprises growth. Value chain thinking is revolutionizing agriculture and the food industry. Focus has shifted from agricultural production to consumer demand, marketing and the coordination of product flows from producer to consumer. The value chain acknowledges that production must be linked to demand and the critical role of organizing the flow from farmers to consumer opportunities.
Basically, we need to buy local. I mean, it's one of the things I said up earlier is that like a lot of restaurants, they import most of their meat and their produce. I don't think that's good. Everything that I use local products unless it's something like a cream that I can't get here. But apart from that, go direct to the farms. Go and see the food, go and see where it's growing, go and see where the meat comes from. Get in there and meet the people and then buy from them. That way you can give them money, then you get good produce, good quality, and then you can produce good food. So that's how it goes up and down the chain.
The food services industry is one of the end produce of the agriculture sector. The purchase and promotion of local produce can help stimulate the agriculture sector. How can the Nigerian government key into the food service sector?
I think what the government needs to do for the food service industry is grow the agricultural sector. We need to have a lot more variety. It needs to be more standardized, not just random. Anybody who wants to have a farm has a farm. There needs to be quality control. There needs to be, channels that you can pass through. If we have a proper agricultural sector, the food industry will automatically grow. We need to have a variety of things. And then we also need to recognize chefs and the culinary arts a lot more. There's programs in a lot of other nations that celebrate the culinary arts. They celebrate the schools. We don't have that in Nigeria. So we need the government to step in and make it a more standardized thing where you can get recognition, not just in Nigeria, but also globally for what you bring to the food industry.
Nigeria will continue to be attractive markets with regards to the strategic expansion goals of global and local consumer food service players. The penetration of international players serves as a stimulus within the Nigerian consumer food service competitive landscape, and this is likely to continue to affect the industry.
Very nice one there, Tosin. Now, yesterday I went to a young entrepreneur's workstation. His name is Onyeka Okani. And what he does is he's someone who plays to his strength. So he was talking to me and then he was talking about how he doesn't like going out during the day. Like he grew up around the Koka, Yaba area. And then he knows his friends that drink. He knows his friends that eat out and just like stay out and all of that. So he created, it's like a restaurant, but they do a lot of drinking and eating there. So like just a hangout place where you can meet regular faces, people that you see every other day. And he's grown a business out of that. He actually just started grilling like 5 years ago, but now he's gotten some funds into a proper business. So he set up a place where people can come in, have fun. He started about a month ago. And we're talking about, how lucrative a business it is and all of that. And he was saying it's actually a really good business. Yes, he's made some money and he's trying to pay back the debt that he owes. But you know what I found very intriguing though was the fact that he said, I like going out at night. So because of that, I started
because you know when you said
a place where
he plays to his strength. And
yes,
I was like, okay, well,
that is the strength.
I go out at night. I know people that drink.
Yes.
That is the strength.
Yes, it is.
Apparently.
Yes, but then it's something he loves doing, and then he's made a business out of it. And he's talked about how in a few years he thinks that it will become something really big.
Interesting. So how did you find the spot?
How did I find it? My producer sent me there. I guess we're just trying to find small businesses in the culinary business and, businesses that actually just started. And the name was mentioned here and there. So I went there. It was fun. We went around 5 p.m. So you can imagine it wasn't really the kind of peak time when they have most of the clients.
It does remind me of Bar Enclave. It's also around the Ilupeju area. They make fantastic barbecue. It's barbecue and chips, fish also, and it's been rated by a lot of people, and a lot of guys go around the area. I've been there a couple of times too, and the barbecue is.
You should have been the one that went there yesterday, though.
Well, the problem with me is I don't like crowded spaces.
It's not your strength.
It's not my strength. It's not my strength at all. No.
So Onyeka Okani is an entrepreneur in the culinary restaurant business. I spoke to him, like I mentioned earlier, and here's what he had to say.
Basically, when we were setting up Urban District, we wanted to have something that, a place where people could come and drink, eat, like how the Lebanese have it, but something on the mainland that reflects the island. So you can come in, grab a meal, have a drink with a friend, and it's not too burdensome on your pocket. The both of us, we used to grill 2 buildings away from here. We were on the street. So we were able to build the business from grilling on the street to a proper, quote-unquote, restaurant. I tell my friends when they want to invest in a business that you have to invest where your strength is. So life is just peaceful at night. So, you know, I tell people when you want to do a business in where you can strive in, because it's not about the money. The money will eventually, that money, after a while, you know it's not, even you, when you get inside, you know it's not about the money. It has to be something you like, because it's only then, like they always say, your passion, something. But you have to do something that you enjoy doing, basically.
You know, it's quite interesting, the strides we've seen in the food services industry. Like, for instance, you know, in the third quarter, the National Bureau of Statistics says that accommodation and food services grew by 5.3%. In comparison to the prior quarter, it was also improved.
Well, this is Nigeria. People must eat, you know. I mean, as long as, and you know, one thing that happens is that when you see GDP go down, unemployment goes up, one thing that doesn't get affected is the merriment sector of Nigeria, because people tend to use that to kill away the sorrows. So they try to
so no matter what happened,
that came to my mind though, why was accommodation and food services grouped together?
Interesting question. That also crossed my mind. But I guess because they're both in the services sector.
No, they're tied together. Most places, people that usually go into those industries also are into real estate.
So we're unable to say for sure exactly what percentage.
And also, if you look at
services
restaurants, right? Hotels, their cost component, the food sector always takes up nothing less than 25%. So it's a good.
It's together. It's
okay, I was going to talk about, you were talking about the growth. I was going to mention my husband's business as well. You know, he's into the finger food. I feel like there's always something creative you can decide to face in the food business. You can say, oh, I just want to do drinks. I just want to focus on, you know, finger foods. You can say just grills. I mean, I feel like a lot of...
I've been thinking about this business to myself. I've been thinking about going into beans.
Really? I mean, you
guys should stop this. You guys should stop this. I used to make fantastic beans in the university.
Sorry, I don't understand. Beans?
Beans.
Yeah, like beans, like brown beans.
But also, you'll be surprised. I know of someone who does just salads.
Salads I can understand, but beans like ewagoyen, what kind of beans? What's special about your beans?
You'd be surprised that you find your consumers.
You need to taste my beans to understand it.
Oh, okay, it's
my
fine.
beans are...
Yeah, right.
I think overall, it just comes back. It just brings us back to the point that you need to play to your strength.
Exactly.
So if Tunji really knows how to make beans, it is a business that if you do right, you know, if you get the right funding to start off with, and then you get into it, you might actually get...
I think that sector is highly fragmented. Everywhere you look, there's a mama put somewhere, there's one woman selling.
No, that's why you have to play to your strength. Yeah. Who knew waking up late in the day could be a strength? It's a strength for... Exactly.
He's a graduate of University of Lagos.
And at the Fiesta of Flavors, I met this other chef. He focuses on trucks.
We saw that.
So literally, he moves his food via trucks. So I think we can also look for more creative ways to get the food services to the end consumers.
Why were we specific about the chef though? Because
she was really excited about him. She was.
I mean,
we know you love your food,
I love
but then you also sort of just love the whole people making the food.
All right, I think you guys are just jealous we're not there. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Yemisi and Tunji. It's always a pleasure having you guys. And it is a wrap. Join us next week when we analyze all the trending business issues. Do have a good weekend.